Okay, so we're back talking about SAS Red Notice, the third part of this podcast. I am going to get through this tonight, whether, I don't even care if it goes on a whole hour. Y'all are just going to have to listen to me ramble on about this movie. I'm going to get through it tonight. So anyway, we left off with Clements and Bissett were about to board the train to release the hostages. And I think Tom, he was doctoring his bum. I had a whole thing about how I had seen Sam Heughan's bum 3 times in a row practically. But anyway, that's not... I'm not going to go into that again. But anyway, and Sophie... her phone was discovered by that girl underneath the train, and I believe the Black Swan, they had just gotten to their drilling. You know, they've gotten to where they want to be in their drilling in the tunnel. So anyway, enough about catching up. So, like I said, Bissett and Clements are boarding the train, and meanwhile, outside of the train, Tom, he had shot a few folks outside there, and the Black Swan guys are just now realizing that something's not right, and so they go and they're looking for Tom, and he's having to fight those guys while Clements and Bissett are boarding the train there, and the Oliver or Ollie, he is taking their weapons from them. So Tom, you know, he's outside the train and he starts going up that tunnel to see what they're doing. And inside the train, Clements and Bissett, asks where the hostages are, and Grace says, "Oh, they're not going anywhere," and she shoots him right there in front of everybody. And that part shocked the hell out of me, because this was a big actor. I mean, I've seen him in a few things, and I was not expecting that at all. But anyways. And Grace says, "Yeah, you probably thought that was going to be you." And, of course, Clements says, "No, I thought that was going to be you." And, you know, they have a whole exchange about that. And then Clements tries to charge her. You know, he broke the champagne glass, and he tries to charge her. And she grabs him by the collar and says, "Everybody needs to just calm down." And she says that y'all hired us to do a job, and Clements points out that she didn't do the job properly. And she said, "Well, the villagers, you know, they sold you their land, didn't they, at work? And the reason for leaving witnesses was they were supposed to spread, you know, the word, you know, spread the fear so that the government could buy the land and put the pipeline down." And she says that, you know, the prime minister could just admit that he hired them to do a job, and they did it. You know, they want their money. They want to be paid. And Clement says that, you know, a payment can be arranged. You know, Brick Gas has plenty of money. And she's like, she says that Brick Gas has a pipeline in the tunnel, and not many people know that. And of course, on the outside, you can see Tom. He has just discovered this. So that's what they've been doing. They've been trying to drill through the tunnel to get to that pipe so that they could, you know, threaten to blow it up or whatever they're trying to do. And of course, you know, that is Grace's plan. She says that if Clements or if the government doesn't pay her, then she will destroy the tunnel and everybody in it. And so Clements, you know, he promises that if she really does promise to leave, and he will get her money and her safe passage out of there. So she gives him like 30 minutes to get some wired confirmation. So meanwhile, her partner there was getting all of this on camera and on video. You know, of course, Clement leaves the train. So in the next scene, or outside the train, I should say, Tom, he finds the guy that's planting the bomb, and he tells him to stand down. And the guy says, "If you pull the trigger, I'll blow up everybody." So Tom and this guy, they have a whole exchange about, you know, the bomb, the plan and stuff. And he gets him to disarm the bomb, and they start fighting and struggling, and then they fall down. It looked like a shaft or some kind of tunnel thing, and that guy dies instantly. But it goes to a new scene before we can see how Tom is. And it's just the news people giving an update on the situation happening in the tunnel, and that a lot of pressure is falling on the Prime Minister to resolve this issue. And it shows the Prime Minister and some other official people there. They're having a meeting on what to do. And I guess the leader of Britgas comes in, and he has to, the Prime Minister is talking to him about, the ransom. And he agrees to pay it, but that it needs to stay under the radar because Britgas doesn't pay ransoms, do they? So it goes back to Tom and that guy that just fell down the shaft there. And Tom, he's okay. And then it goes to Declan and the SAS soldiers there. And I guess Declan is in charge now. So because, the Bissett got killed. And Tom calls him on the phone and just confirms that the tunnel is going to be blown up. And so he says, Clement has gotten the same message. And, Tom says it's not a threat. It's actually a real, there's a real bomb there. And Declan asks him if he can disarm it. And, of course, Tom says that he can't because there's triggers and all this kind of stuff all over it. And Tom tells him to tell Bissett to get in there and, and fix the situation. But then, Declan, of course, tells Tom about Bissett. Tom tells Declan since he's in charge, to just go in and do this. And, of course, Clements has told them to stand down. And Tom was like, she'll blow it up anyway, because even if they do pay her, she's going to do it anyway. Because it's not about the money, it's about revenge. So Declan is trying to convince Tom to get away out of there because he needs his help. But, of course, Tom says, well, Sophie needs it more. And after he gets off the phone with Tom, he calls someone on another phone. And, of course, it's Grace. So this is where we find out that Declan is, in fact, the spy. Because, earlier in the movie, they were trying to hint that Bissett might have been. And he could have been. And then, it just, since he's in charge now, I think Tom has always been, Declan has always been the spy. And he's telling her, that he can help her get out and all this. And she says that she doesn't need to get out. They're all dead. And but if he wants to get out alive, then he needs to cooperate, and he needs to help her get the player out of the tunnels and out of the train. And of course, he tells her who Tom is. And basically, she threatens him. She says, either you help me kill Tom, or she's going to tell Clements that he's the spy. Or she calls him the snide. So Declan tells her basically that Tom's girlfriend is on the train. Then it goes back to Tom, and he's climbing out of that tunnel there, and then Tom gets a text from Sophie that to come get me, and he asks her, more wounded, and the response is, no, just me. But of course, this is Grace sending Tom a message through Sophie's phone to set a trap. So he sends back, under the train, same as before. And so Grace tells Ollie to, go and get him under the train. So Tom can see that Ollie is out there outside the train looking for him, and he's up high and Ollie's down low. So Tom takes this opportunity to jump down and grab him and, take him hostage. And then he goes back into the train, and he's trying to make a deal with Grace. If he let Sophie go, he'll leave, because she's the only reason why he's down there. And Grace makes an observation that it's not in their nature to do that. She senses that Tom is probably just like her. And she says there's probably only one way to end this, because, neither one of them care when they kill somebody.